Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Trevor Stockwell here with you today, along with my guest on this episode, Pazit. Now, before I introduce her, let me just ask you this. How do you see yourself? How do you see your future? It's important to stop and think about this regularly. Maybe we don't as often as we should. But could you improve the picture that you're seeing? Well, be encouraged because Pazit's an expert in the law of attraction. She's founded the I Have a Dream Academy as well. She's an award-winning photographer and coach, and she blends all of these skills to help her clients improve not only their image of success, but then help them to become that image. Do you want to hear more? I certainly do. So welcome, Pazit Perez.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you for welcoming me.
It's great to have you on the show. Lots we're going to dig into today. You're going to help lots of people as well, and me, I'm sure. I've got areas where I can improve on this. So, yeah, before maybe we dig into that and I plumb your expertise, share a little bit about your journey that's brought you to this point, because you weren't born an expert in the law of attraction, right?
No, it's funny. I actually definitely not born, or at least not consciously aware of it. But when I was a child, I was able to manifest a lot of different things that I wanted. I just didn't know that it was, I just didn't understand the process I was doing as a child. You're kind of like just going through the flow unconsciously. In my later years in my career, my photography work revealed it to me again. So for many years, I was doing portrait photography. And in 2014, as I actually kind of went through a life transition, I bottomed out. It was my third rock bottom, and I was kind of coming out of a toxic relationship. My business was at an all-time low because I had put it on the side for about 2 years. My finances were in a bit of a scramble, and I started getting this idea. This magazine actually reached out to me and wanted me to take a portrait of myself. And what was funny is that I was in my bottom period, and I'm sure that anybody that's in a bottom period does not really feel like, going out and taking a really cool, business shot of themselves, right? But they were after me, and so I decided, okay, fine. So I stepped into my studio and I took a self-portrait of myself, and that was the turning point in my career. What happened is when I looked at my photograph that I had taken of myself in the state of, of being on I would say at my worst, I saw my potential in that photograph. When I looked at it, I just looked like bigger than life. I can't express it. It's something that I saw. It's like a different side. And I realized I saw my potential. And I remember looking at that photograph and having a disconnection from the way I felt, like a failure or lack of success at the time, considering what I was going through. And I saw who I could become. And I said to myself, as I'm looking at my portrait, I said, I'm going to become her. And so this changed the way I viewed photography. And I had an aha moment that I can use photography not only to create memories, but we can use photography to create our future. So everything in life has an opposite, but it was just so funny that nobody's ever thought of using photography like a vision, to capture your vision so you can see it. Instead of going by out of sight, you can go by sight to become who you want to be. And that transitioned my business. And I started thinking and looking back at all the people that I started photographing in the past, and they would always say the same line. They would always say, I can't believe this is me, when I would show them their photo. And I think that the reason that they said that was because I was a really good photographer. But I realized that the reason that they said that was they couldn't believe that they're seeing this version of themselves. And so what was fascinating from 2014 to 2019, I kept photographing people for who they wanted to become. And in essence, I was watching people become their portraits. So that was life-changing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So why do you think it is then that maybe we don't see ourselves, we don't see the potential in ourselves immediately?
Right. Well, it depends, your environment, circumstances you grew up in. Everybody goes through challenges. Nobody is given a free ride in this, a free pass in life. Everybody has gone through either divorce, bankruptcy, relationship issues, business, losing a business, and all these things mark people in different ways. For example, I would have a man that came to see me while I was doing his vision portrait, and he has lost his work, and his belief was that his work made him a somebody, and when you took away his work, he felt like a nobody. It's almost like we identify ourselves with outside things that are outside of us, like our job, or our money. Our money gives us value, our job gives us our self-worth, but that's not the truth, because once you take those things away, what's left, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's pretty much life, experiences, school, teachers, whoever influenced you and said something that eventually with life they kind of picked at you, and eventually you kind of lost your purpose, you lost belief in yourself, and you lost the belief in your potential, and so you kind of, I would say, your vision became clouded over the years by different people's circumstances that you went through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, actually, I was chatting to some friends earlier today. We was on about self-esteem and valuing ourselves, and just it's something that I realized over a period of time. The more like we separate valuing who we are from our success or failure, the two, the more of a healthy self-image that we have, the more successful we could become. But even when we're not successful, we haven't lost our value. We're still as valuable as we were. But sometimes we do link the two things together, like the guy with the job. It's like, yeah, this is the position I have, this is the salary or whatever the extras would be, that says I'm valuable because of that. And it's like, no, that's not it. You were valuable beforehand. Once we've really got that in our foundation, then success becomes almost a byproduct, but also it's just separate, isn't it? The two things shouldn't be interlinked to the point of one validates the other. It's like, no, they're separate things.
Right. I think my work has taught me that everything has to come within you. Your value has to come from within you. Your self-worth, your belief in yourself, you believing that it's possible has to come within you. It's not because of the things that you have, because things and people can be gone, right? I mean, not everybody lives forever, as we know. It's a fact, So if your belief is in somebody else, once that person is gone, well, there goes your belief in yourself. Or if you lose your job, or if you lose your money, if your value is coming from these things, then you're at the mercy of your circumstances, and that's not a very powerful position to be in. I love the work of Maxwell Maltz, which all about self-image. I didn't know much about it during my portrait years, but of course, as I came into the realization or to the awareness that literally we create our life the way we picture ourselves to be. So it's very important to have a healthy self-image, and that's what the whole work of Maxwell Maltz said, that a person can never surpass the image that they have of themselves. So, for example, you can dress great and you can look like a success on the outside, but if on the inside you feel like a failure, a loser, you feel inadequate, that is what is going to show up in your life. And for me, I brought it down 3 times because I grew up in a very critical family, so my self-esteem was never very high. Although I would be able to reach very high success, I was an expert at self-sabotaging it because my self-image always believed that I did not deserve it. So my reality would always catch up with it. And once on my 3rd time, I said, I'm not going to ever bottom out again, ever. I had made like commitment. And this time I became aware because I knew I had a pattern because it was my 3rd time. And I bottomed out exactly the same way 3 times. So I noticed that I'm either on I'm running on a program or something, because I'm doing the same thing repetitively over a course of years. Yeah. Although I had different businesses, the circumstances were very much the same. The boyfriend's name changed, the business name changed, but the results were the same. So I understood. And this time when I built myself out, I built myself inside out, meaning my value comes from me, my self-worth comes from me. And so when you have that and you project that onto the outside world, it's very easy. Whether I lose my business or not, or whether I do something that's a success or not, it no longer defines me.
Yeah.
I am a success because I have decided that I am. I see myself, I picture myself as someone who is worthy and successful and deserving. Yeah. So that's a huge change. And I think that that's a very important change to understand that the self-image that runs your life is not the one that you see in the mirror, but it's the hidden one inside your mind that controls you. It's like your map. Like you have a map behind you. There's a map inside your head that guides you to how you see yourself. And it never lies. It always will show up as your life.
Yeah, it's like the thermostat, isn't it? That even though temperatures might fluctuate up or down, the default setting, it always comes back to that, whatever it's set at. That's what determines it. And we have to change the level of how we see ourselves, don't we? That thermostat. If it's lower than what we want, we have to change it. And that's what you do to help people, isn't it?
That's the fastest way. I found that this was the fastest way. This was what my biggest discovery as a photographer. And this is why I became an award-winning photographer between 2014 and 2019. I won 4 awards for my work, which was called Vision Portraits. I was able to capture people for who they wanted to become in terms of their potential so they can see it outside. And what happened is I would align them. I aligned them with who they can become. So if they wanted to become a New York Times bestseller, if they wanted to become an international coach, if they wanted to become millionaires, I had a guy who wanted to go from 6 figures to become a millionaire. If they were able to see themselves in that image would change the image that they had within their mind, because now their perception of themselves changed, and it would lead them to take different actions. Yeah. And everybody that have reached their success have told me that it wasn't like so much that they had to work. They were pulled to do things. They would get ideas that they never thought of before. But because they aligned with this new image of themselves, they would get aligned. So, for example, a New York Times bestseller, a guy that's never written a book, never graduated from school, and also never wrote, right? And all of a sudden, he gets this idea that he wants to put a book out there. This gentleman was 73 years old when I did his vision portrait. By 75, he became a published author and on his way to becoming a New York Times bestseller. So he got ideas, to get somebody to help him, with the writing. All of a sudden he got ideas, we did his book cover. So everything started aligning with the way he saw himself. So it's really amazing. And when he was, and prior to become a bestseller, he was a car salesman. As a car salesman, he would not have the same ideas he would not take the same actions to become a New York Times bestseller. This new persona demanded different things of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once you align with your vision, your actions align as well. As a car salesman, he doesn't need to write books. You know what I mean? He needs to sell cars. So his experience is different. So when you become this new persona, and from my own experience, because now I always create my life the way I picture it to be, I understand that it's a process that not only I could do in my studio, but it's a process that we can do outside of the studio. All you got to do is align yourself, and images have an emotional component to it. When you look at a picture, it always brings up a feeling within yourself. Whether you're looking at photos of memories, it always generates a feeling, and the law of attraction works by feeling.
Yeah.
So I found that a picture is a shortcut. I would say a shortcut to success and to replace, instead of trying to fix all your limited beliefs and stories from your childhood that you might be aware of and not be aware of. That it's too much work to dissect and go back. Why don't we just create something new and start from there and align yourself with that and just, and get there. Most of my clients was amazing. They would become their portraits within 2 weeks to a year that we took it. That was quite extraordinary.
Yeah. You've hit your zone of brilliance, haven't you, within the skills that you've had and the way you help people. So that's really good. What would be some of the first steps, maybe for people that are listening and they think, Pazit, this is brilliant. but it just doesn't work for me. I've tried that; it just doesn't work. What would you say would be? How can they get back on track to the point of building the proper image that they want?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is they need to change your mindset. What you say, you create. So if you say it doesn't work, you're right. But if you say it does work, you're also right. So you decide which right you want. Okay. And then the first thing I would do is I would say to them, you have to ask yourself this first question. This first question is like, what do you want to create? Like, who do you want to be? Okay. When I went from a photographer, I knew I wanted to become I was guided. I felt like I needed to get out of my studio in order to help more people. So I was guided to becoming a coach. So I asked myself, what kind of coach do I want to become? How do I want people to perceive me? And I said, you know what? I started to create this image in a very celebrity-like, because I always loved, everybody always told me I had a bit of a celebrity lifestyle, which I do love. So I wanted to have this kind of celebrity coach kind of image. And so I looked at people out there. I got inspired by, I'm inspired by fashion, like Donatella Versace, and I was inspired by Lady Gaga, how she's like very different all the time, and she's able to transform herself, from persona to persona, and that way she inspires me. And so I kind of took a little bit like the people that I'm inspired to and created this image. I wanted to be sexy. I wanted to be edgy. I didn't want to be like the everyday coach, clean and proper. I really wanted to stand out. So the first thing is I defined how I wanted to, who I wanted to become as a coach. So that's the first thing, is define how you want to be perceived. Then the second thing I did is I took a portrait. This time I actually got somebody to take my portrait. I was in Miami, but I told the photographer exactly what I wanted. I told her my vision, and she was able to capture it. And that's the image that you'll see of me on all my social media. So we captured this image of a very big persona, and that image, then you have to put it in sight. So today we all have social media accounts. We're all on social media. We spend a lot of time on social media for our businesses and stuff. So I put it as my profile photo. So every day I look at that photo, it gives me ideas of what to do. And it helps me see opportunities, So I get ideas, to be on shows. I get ideas that I want to be interviewed. So I get all these opportunities that come to me, people that want to interview me, I attract them because that's what I'm thinking of, That's what I'm thinking of. And so basically that's how the process works. It's very easy. You set your intention by deciding what you want to become, setting your position. 2 is by picturing it. So create yourself in that image. What would you look like as a millionaire already? If you're not a millionaire today, what would you look like if you were a millionaire? What would you wear? Are you wearing a suit? What are you wearing exactly? If you have the number one show on or the number one podcast show, what's your image? How do people see you? So you must dress in that image. Most people wait to become that to dress the part. No, we can fast forward that. We can hack, if you want, a reality. And today science backs it up. But you know what? I say, don't wait for science. Why don't you prove it to yourself? I have my clients' beliefs and I have my belief because I went through the process myself. But why don't you go through the process and understand that if it was possible for me, it's possible for you? And so the third step, like I said, after you set your intention, you will get ideas. You must take action. All of a sudden, I would have an idea to have a TV show, which I had a TV show. I had an idea to start a magazine, I had an idea to do all these things. And what I do is I act on all my ideas, and all my ideas lead me to the next step and the next step and the next step that lead me to become who I am today. And that can change. Like, people think that a vision is forever. It's not forever. I was an award-winning photographer for many years, and then I was guided to become an award-winning coach. I don't know if that's going to be for the rest of my life, but for now, that's where I'm at. And when that changes, I'll create a new image.
Yeah. No, that's really good. You've lived it, so you're able to communicate it in a very straightforward, practical way, which is really helpful. I think everybody can follow the steps that you've laid out for us already. One of the things that I think coaching addresses, but for people maybe that don't have a coach and they're not at this point looking for a coach, how can they change past mindsets? So they've got the image, they've defined what they want, they've got a picture of what they want to become. But then there's the old thinking, which either says, no, you're never going to do it. You tried that, it didn't work. Or whatever the self-sabotaging beliefs are. How can people address or recognize them or just change them? What would you say would be the best way of doing that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The best way to do it is they have to act from their vision. They have to act from their vision image, because if you keep doing what you keep doing, you'll always get the same results, right? Your past results and your past limiting beliefs will always give you the same results. Now, let's just take an example. When you create this new image, you're going to act differently, okay? Because you're going to say, well, how is this person? Well, this person is more confident. So therefore, I have to take on more confidence. This person is a risk taker. So maybe in the past, I'm not somebody who took risk, but because I'm this new persona, she takes more risks. Therefore, you have to act aligned with this new persona. You cannot become somebody new if you act in your old ways. So that's why I say the image, it pulls you, because it'll get you to act differently, and you have to, you'll see different qualities in that person. You'll see different qualities from yourself, And so when you create that image, I mean, when I look at my image, I see confidence, I see success, I see somebody who's very well put together, somebody who could speak well. And believe it or not, I used to be on the other side of the camera. I was a photographer, so I was like very shy. I would be a little bit socially dysfunctional, because I was so used to working in my studio. As a photographer, as an artist, we work a lot on our own. A lot of artists work, on their own, so we don't mix well. But this new persona, this celebrity persona, was more in the limelight. So it demanded a lot of different characteristics of me. So every time I looked at that picture, I became like her. I took on her qualities, per se. So it's a great question also, because when I did the vision portraits, one question I would ask every single client is, when you look at that picture, what would you like to see? So Trevor, if ever I was doing your vision portrait, and we can take you as an example, let's just say, what would be your vision? What would be something you want to create? And then I would ask you, Trevor, what are the 3 qualities? Right now, think of, you're looking at the picture. What are 3 qualities you would like to see in yourself? Give me 3 qualities that you'd like to see in yourself, if you were to look at a picture I took of you right now.
Cool. This is scary, but it's really good, actually. I would say confidence. I would describe myself as fairly confident, but yeah, there's areas that I can grow in that, definitely. I'd have to be 3. Can we go with 1?
Sure. So just to give you a shot, because I've done so many portraits, the 3 top that I would see was confidence, powerful, and friendly. Those were like 3 qualities that people wanted to emanate the most, So confident, powerful, were always like at the 2 tops, and successful. Confident, powerful, successful were the 3 that I would see a lot, because I dealt a lot with business people, and those were the 3 qualities that they wanted. And so when you close your eyes and you picture yourself as confident, powerful, and successful, how do you see yourself? That's my next question. How do you see yourself? What are you wearing? If you close your eyes and you went inside for a second, how would you see yourself as a confident, powerful, successful person? What are you wearing?
Yeah. Armani suits, I would say, to that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you wearing? How's your hairstyle? There's an image that comes to your mind when you say those words.
Yeah.
And so in order for you to act aligned with this, you must see yourself. I would say, snap that picture, create that photo of yourself where you are in that exact suit that you see yourself in your mind, and you capture your vision, so you make it tangible. What happens with our mind is that there's a lot of information in our mind, so it can get clouded. But just like when we write, it's like we're getting an idea outside of our mind onto paper, so it's more clear. I'm sure anybody can relate to this. Some days you think like, oh my God, I have so many things to do. And you start writing it down, you realize, oh my God, I have 6 things to do. But your mind makes it look like you have 100 things to do, which is not true. You really just have 6 things to do. So how do you get a picture out of your mind? How? Nobody has thought of how do you get a picture out of you. We know how to get words onto paper, but how do you get a picture out of your mind? through a photograph. A photograph is the result of a vision. Just like the painting that you see behind me, the artist, this was in the artist's mind before it became a painting on a canvas.
Yeah.
So where do all our ideas come from? They come from our mind.
Yeah.
And so you must change your mind on how you see yourself. And the easiest way to do that is by creating an image of yourself, because you always stay true to your image.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. So it's the mix, from what I'm hearing you say, if I've got it right, it's the mix of you create a visual picture externally of what you want, how you see yourself, where something that is, I think to do that, you have to dig into the self-expression of who you are. Like you don't, or I wouldn't imagine you would end up creating somebody that you couldn't become from it. If you dig deep and you're honest with yourself about, what is it that I desire? What is it that I'd like to see? I don't think it becomes, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't think we create the image that we don't want. I think going through the process that you've talked to us about, that's where we dig into ourselves, that I suppose we get honest with ourselves about, this is really who I am. I've just not let myself go there yet because of whatever past experiences, environment, other people, probably a mix of all of that. So that's really good. And it's keeping it in our minds as well, isn't it? It's having the image, when you say about closing our eyes, staying emotionally involved with the image that we see. It's like when we picture it, does it make us smile? Or do we shrink back and think, no, that's not what I want to be? It's like, no, you find the image that makes you smile, that as you said before, pulls you towards who you're going to become. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Like in the past, since I've been a photographer for many years, we would take pictures of people. Like let's just say, if you came into my studio, I would take a picture of the way you show up. So there's no alignment in there. So when I'm taking pictures of you, as you show up, we're creating more of the same. I want you to understand that we're creating more of the same. A lot of business people that they just show up for a photo session, that want to update their business headshot.
Yeah.
They show up as the same as they were last year and the same as the year before. Okay, this is more of an alignment photograph. This is more of like, okay, so Trevor, who do you want to become? What do you want? So we get, like, say for example, one of my clients who said, Pazit, I've been at six figures. Nothing wrong with that. But I want to be at the $1 million level, and I can't get there. I said, you can't get there from a six-figure level because you're thinking like a six-figure level, and you see yourself as a six-figure earner. There is no way you'll become a millionaire based on that image. So he's like, okay, so what do? We create an image of you as a millionaire. So I asked him, what successful millionaires out there?
It's okay. It's giving all of us a chance to picture who it's become. It's a good pause. So you were talking about the guy that 6 figures move into 7 figures, wasn't it?
Right. So the first thing was, what are millionaires that inspire you? That's the first question. And when you see yourself as a millionaire, what are 3 qualities that you associate to yourself? Right. So again, always, it's always like, I see myself powerful. He's like, I see myself as very classy, and I see myself as very successful. And I said, okay. So he showed me pictures of like these different millionaires that he really liked, and they were very well put together. So I had suggested for him to go get a suit, that represented that, like the watch, like all these millionaires had a watch. They were very like nicely manicured, even as a man, their hair was very clean cut. That's the one he aspired to. I'm not saying this is for everybody. This is his vision. Yeah. And so what we did is we created an image of him in that vision. Okay. And when he saw himself, and he used to wear like his shirts, like he used to look like a guy that went to a club, because he showed me his old profile photo, and he had his shirt like opened up till here, and like this jacket that wasn't fitting properly. So we got him in a suit that was more tailored, because millionaires, just the ones that he aspired to, had that European flair. They wore tailored suits, their shirts were sharp, the watch, the shoes were shiny, polished, So we created him in that image when he saw himself was that he instantly connected to it. So he used that image like transported him from six figures. Now he's like, I see it. He goes, this is the guy I see.
Yeah.
And so what happened was a lot of people after these portraits actually started changing their style. They started dressing differently as well. Not because I forced them, I said to them, go on a shopping spree. They just felt like, I want to keep up with this image. I like it.
Yeah.
Now what happened? When he used this photo on his profile, people that would Google him, because today, how do you find people, right? Online, right? Yeah. People that would Google him and this were like, wow, looks like you're doing really well these days. Okay, he was still where he was at. He was still in his six figure, but people perceived him differently. Not only did people perceive him differently, he saw himself differently. So now he became a match to the people that he wanted to attract. He wanted to attract $1 million developers, and he was able to do that just by the image.
Yep.
And so the people that were at that level recognized him as one of them.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And so that's
yeah, no, you're right. As I'm hearing you, it's still. I think from what I'm hearing you saying, it's that he found the authentic expression of who he really was, but just hadn't got there yet.
Exactly. Rather
than some random image that wasn't rooted in who he was. And I think you've got a very good way of helping individuals find their true self, isn't it? Helps them express themselves. It's the coaching you really that helps draw it out. And you're
I try to you see yourself every day, okay, and your friends see you. Let's say your environment that you're in see you as who you are, okay. Yeah. It's very they cannot offer you a new perspective on you.
Yeah.
And this is why I highly recommend anybody who is very successful will tell you they either had a mentor or a coach. There's a reason why. It's because a mentor or a coach is at a level that is higher than you. Yeah. So they're able to guide you to it. Why you cannot do it on your own? I'm not saying it's impossible. But listen, do you want to spend 100 years or 80 years of your life trying to figure it out? I mean, seriously, yes. When you have access to this knowledge,
yeah.
No, if you're very, if you value your time, you would not want to spend all this time trying to figure it out on your own. Now, he couldn't see. Most of my clients, they couldn't see. They couldn't see how their look was not portraying themselves in the light that they saw themselves, because for them it was their familiar, if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, and the friends are at the same level, so they don't see anything wrong with them, right? But when you come to me, you tell me, hey, I want to become this, and I look at your photo, my language was images. And I said, well, you're not a match. Right away, I see it,
Yes. Yeah.
You don't look like this person. You want to exude success, but your picture says, I don't believe in myself. When I look at your picture, I can look at many profile photos and I can tell you exactly the energy that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't know that they have it, and unless a new person comes in, or a person that has experience in that field sees you and says, yo, tell me what it is you want. And I'm gonna say, yeah, you're a great match, or listen, you need to make a little bit of adjustments to your look, We need to make a little adjustments. And when you do those adjustments to your look, people that, law of attraction, like attracts like. People that are like the new you are attracted to the new you. So now you're also attracting people on that new level, if you want, that would not have been attracted to you if you keep presenting yourself in the same way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And part of that process, I suppose, is the adjusting of some of the people that you currently hang around. You're just, whether you want to use the term outgrow them, or there's just not a connection like there was once you progress. And I suppose that's part of it, isn't it? Put yourself in environments that will reinforce the image where you want to be, rather than stay where you are but keep looking at a picture and never taking action to actually make it a reality.
Absolutely. You do outgrow people, for sure. You do outgrow people. That's part of the process.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to let go. I mean, you have your dream, you have your dream, you have to get there. I remember when I hit rock bottom, okay? One thing that I would do for myself, even though I was bottomed out, I would go and stay at hotels just to have coffee instead of going to Starbucks or something like that. It was the same, it was the same amount of money. It was like either, like $7 at Starbucks or $7 at a hotel. But the experience I would have at a hotel was very different. I would go to the Ritz-Carlton. I would go to the Berks. I would go to Fairmont. I would go to all the 5-star hotels. And I would just sit there and order tea or coffee, whatever it is at that time, wherever my money was. And just being there, I put myself in that environment. I would stay there. I would work on my laptop there, and the staff got to know me that every person actually thought I actually lived in the hotel. Not only that, I actually started believing that too. Because everybody would be like, as I would walk in, the doorman would be like, "Hi, Mrs. Perez," they would valet my car, and then, all the staff's like, "Oh, Mrs. Perez, you're back for breakfast again. It's nice to have you with us." And so they treated me like the celebrity that I felt, although, but it was because I was projecting that energy and they were reacting to, they were responding. I don't say reacting. They were responding to the energy. And slowly but surely, within 90 days, I built my wealth back up. I built my business back up from 90 days that I took that portrait. So that was the fastest time that I built myself back up. Before it took me years, because I bought him down 3 times. So the 2 first times took me, oh my gosh, like over 5 years, between 3 and 5 years to build myself up. This time I did it within 90 days, which was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So you can do all these things,
Yeah.
I would have clients that would tell me too, like, when they're creating more wealth and they're not coming from wealth. And this has a lot to do with artists, because I work with, a lot of artists like to come to me because my background was photography. So they feel we have this connection. And so they would say, I went to the Ritz-Carlton. I didn't feel comfortable. I'm like, you're not meant to feel comfortable. You're changing.
Yeah.
It's normal. It doesn't feel comfortable for you. You're not used to hanging around places like that. You're used to hanging around in places that are, of a different energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Your current places
dress up.
Keep it where they are, don't they? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Put on your black dress. Everybody's got a black dress or a black suit. Put your best suit. Put your black dress and go sit. And the other thing that people have to understand is that the people that stay in those hotels are very high vibration, right? Because when you're paying, $500 a night, you're going to get a certain type of personality that books there.
Yeah.
And they're going to be aligned with you. They're going to be thinkers. They're going to be entrepreneurs, and you get to mingle with them.
Yeah. It then becomes normal for you, doesn't it? That's your normal environment then. Yeah.
That's it. You have it a few times until it becomes normal. Me too. I didn't feel comfortable, going on TV or being doing articles. At first, I would be so stiff. But today, as you do anything that you do often and repetitively becomes comfortable to you.
Yeah.
Aren't you comfortable in your habits right now, whatever they are?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like the comfort zone is nice briefly every now and again, but we should be living a lot more outside of that in the areas where we want to grow and develop, not just being uncomfortable for uncomfortable's sake. But yeah, there's a place you want to take your business, there's a place you want to take yourself. And it's just, if you never step out, you never get there, will you? It's just, that's part of the process. It really is. I like it as well what you said. We need to sort of wrap our discussion up for today because time has passed us by already, but it would be amazing if you could come back at some point and we can continue this further. But maybe just as we close this, you mentioned about getting a mentor, get a coach, for the very reason of you skip such a period of time that it will take you to work it out yourself, isn't it? Because we all need external input because we have blind spots. We don't see the things, we don't know what we don't know, and other people can see it in a moment and really help translate us from where we are to where we want to be in a short space of time. So that's really good. But tell us a little bit about how you help people, because you've got a very innovative way of coaching, haven't you?
So I have, well, there's two ways that I can, how I help people. So there's the coaching on demand, and the coaching on demand it's cool because it's a hotline basically. Not everybody needs like a full on, coaching service in that perspective. Sometimes people have a really good idea where they want to go, but they, like you said, they have blind spots, so they can use that hotline to call and get in the moment access to a coach who can help and assist them. It's cool, it's inexpensive, it's private, and it's accessible. There's also the private coaching, and basically what it is this is when you're ready to change your life around. You understand that the way that you create your reality is not the way that you were taught. You understand that there's something more to life. You know it, but you can't put your finger on it. And this is where we take 3 months. It's an intensive. It's a high ticket coaching. It's 3 months. It's one-on-one. It's made to measure. And basically, it's a whole lifestyle change. For me, my coaching has become a lifestyle for me. I live my life the way I picture it to be. I create every single thing in my life has started from the same process, and I do it over and over again. Why? Because it works and it's repeatable. And once you learn how to do it, you can take it in every area of your life. It's not something that you have to learn again, but it does take the time to apply it in your life. Yeah. Anybody who's become a master at anything that they do, it's because they play or they practice more than anyone else. The best doctor, the best athlete, the best celebrity is because they spend more time in their craft than anyone else. Yeah. And so if you want to create a lifestyle change that is, that's going to last you forever, I would suggest the private personal coaching. But if you just want to dab a little bit and get a little pointers here and there, then the coaching on demand is for you. It's for people who want to win in life, who've tried many times, and have had setbacks and disappointment, have experienced setbacks and disappointments, and weren't able to win on their own. So these two services are going to help you win in life. And the areas that I specialize in are the areas of personal success and finance, creating wealth.
Perfect. Yeah, I like the way that you've designed it so that you've got almost like the quick fix of what I need to do now. And then you've got the option of, right now I'm serious about 3 months. Tried it myself, hasn't worked. I need 3 months of your time. And then you've got that option as well. So that's really good. There'll be a link to your website below, but just share with us the website that people will go to find out more.
Sure. It's ihaveadreamacademy.com.
Perfect. Okay. Lovely. Thank you for sharing with us today. You've inspired me as well to just work on my image, work on my picture, that thing that how I see myself. And for everybody listening as well, come on, we can do better than what we're doing. Surely we can do better than what we're doing. Pazit's here to help us, but also we have to do our part as well. You're right. Being proactive, putting things into place, and taking the time to think about your picture. What is it that you want? Why are you in business? What is it that you want to get from your business? How does it look 6 months from now, a year from now? All of that stuff is useful. So thanks again for sharing with us. You've given us plenty of things to work on. Now it's over to us to take the next step. So yes, for everybody listening, we're going to wind it up there. Go do a little bit of thinking, go do some work, because it's going to help your future. I mean, why wouldn't you? Surely it's going to be beneficial for you. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.